Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Darcy's Misadventures with Mixed Media, and I have some new paper to try. It's 90 pound, I think it's called sulphite, S-U-L-P-H-I-T-E. Yes, sulphite, sack sulphite drawing paper, 90 pound, 9 by 12 inches. It was recommended in the collage fodder challenge, the fodder challenge 2024. Which I'm, part of that class or whatever. So I want to play with it and see how it does with different mediums, basically. Yeah, I've just never used this paper. I've never even heard of this paper before this week. I'm gonna put down a couple pieces as drop paper because I kind of like how this is looking back here. And who knows what's gonna happen when I start playing with paints and inks and whatnot. I'm going to be playing with all the things. I need to move more things out of my way. That's just how my life is. Because, the room's a mess, so let's just make more of a mess with more paint, because that's fun. I'll show you the couple I did without you guys. So here's one. That was just a piece of scrapbook paper. It was white on the back, and it had, just like tan with writing on the front. And then this one was a gel plate print on here, and then there was a digital on this side that I decided not to use, at least not in the size that I had printed it, so I just painted over it. So now I have two sides, and I went with these colors because I think this will hopefully work in the How Do You Do project that I'm working on. And this one may turn into a zine, because I got a zine project coming up. And I was trying to paint it after. I had already cut it, and that was proving to be quite difficult, especially with such a large piece. So yeah, that I do recommend if you make a zine to start ahead. All right, so we've already got some stuff on here because I've just done all that. So one of the things I was doing is I was doing some spray and then painting over that. So let's see. This is gone. I know I have, I need to look up how to do the refills. Can you refill with the, so I looked it up and it says, no, you cannot use they're a different formulation, and using your re-inkers in your distress spray stains will not work. That's what they said. I'm still trying it. Because just because they say doesn't mean I have to. I just want to definitely does look a different color than what I started with, and I used the in the photo. I mean, I would usually mix it with water anyway, either one, so I don't know. Obviously I need to reinvest in some new sprays because I'm almost out of some colors that I use a lot. Vintage photo and honey one being two, which is funny because you'd think they wouldn't be that much different, since that gives you a totally different look when you smush it. Always it does it. I knew that because it always does, but I'm just trying to get some kind of coverage on here. I've lost. Alright, I'm gonna dry these with a heat gun really quick because I want to add some more layers. Okay, I've dried one and I left one wet or damp or whatever. I just want to kind of spray a little bit of, this is ground espresso, so that is on the dry, and this is on the wet, because they will do totally different things, as you can see. Well, on the wet it spreads out a lot more, and on the dry it sits on top. So we learned something. That's always nice. And I want that to, all right, I'm gonna do, well, if I can, this says no, it's not gonna. So I'm just gonna take my white on the wet of the white linen dilutions, and it will definitely react differently on the wet than the one that I do on the dry. And I'm gonna dry the other ink that I just put on so it doesn't mix. For the other one, I'm going to leave this to air dry for a minute. It'll still stay damp in case I want to add any colors right now. And I'm going to dry this real quick with a heat gun. Alright, so this is mostly dry now. So I'm going to do this again. It will probably wick up the color that's underneath, is usually what will happen with whites that you put on inks. Not necessarily. So I'm going to dry this with the heat gun. I'm letting the other one air dry for a bit. I might add some other colors. I'm not sure yet. Alright, you can see it's not white anymore because it has wicked up some of the color that's under there. And I want to test my bleed proof Dr. P.H. Martin bleed proof ink and see how that does. If it does it. I need to water it down. No, I don't. Yeah, I do. Well, we're just gonna hit it hard enough. No, I need to water it down a little bit. Yeah, I do. I need to water it down a little bit. Where can I water it down a little bit? That's the question. Here is where I can water it down a little bit. Right here. Okay. Spray. If I keep it wet enough. Whoops, just sprayed on the that was and now there's a little bit of a, well, we'll see what happens where that water was. In fact, we might add some more water. I just kind of want to see how this bleed proof does, if it actually stays white or if it will wick up some of the, and I've got some up in this corner, quite a bit up in this corner, so I'll know that that's the bleed proof stuff and not the, well, we kind of know anyway, but all right. Oh, do I want to do that on the other one too? Sure. I think the other one's still a little bit on the damp side. Put the cover on that. We do not need to spill a giant thing of ink. I've already spilled other stuff today. I definitely don't need to spill that. This is less wet than it was, but it is, there's still wet. Where it is wet, it is spreading, you know, like the other one did. Splattering is fun. I mean, really, it is. These would make really great backgrounds for mushrooms or leaves or anything fall or anything you want, yellow, brown, whatever. I think they'll be fun. Alright, so there is that right now, letting this one air dry. This over here is fairly dry, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna let that dry some more. I'm gonna let both of those dry. And bring in a new paper, and I still want some more sprays because I want to go over the sprays with other things as well. I don't know where. Oh, let's do greens. Whoops, what did I just hit you? Probably. Alright, and oops, we got a little bit of green on there. That's right. This one is for small, so even though that looks green, it's more brown than green. This is crushed olive because why not some brown green with some bright green. This is antique linen with just more of a, and they all spray a little bit differently. Alright, I'm going to set this to dry. I don't want to smush it. I want this model, I want this look. This is the look I'm going for. Some of it will spread, some of it won't. So I'm just setting that to the side to dry somewhere. Flattish would be nice. Because if I don't do it flat, it's going to do some weird leaking kind of stuff. Alright, so some antique linen. Some vintage photo that is not spray stained anymore. It's now the re-inker in a little bit of water. So it's like a totally different color now. It's much more orange than it was. There's the, and then we have ground espresso, which is a little bit dark for me. So I'm going to mix a little ground espresso in with this orangey mix that's a little too orange for me. Just to, yeah, did a good bit. Probably about half and half now of whatever was in there. And did I put the right sprayer on? I don't know. Also, I need to get it out of the sprayer, don't I? Where'd my paper go? There's a ream of paper that I now can't find. What's wrong with me? Alright, so this time I'm going to take dry paper and put it on top of that. I am going to spray a little bit of water on here just so that it will... This is my older sprayer. It doesn't spray straight. It's just not straight anymore. And I'm just going to put that on dry. And it will have smushed it and spread it quite a bit. So a different look. Kind of want to get the edges though, so let's go ahead and flip it upside down. So sometimes all the ink goes to one end, so you just kind of take this and flip it around a couple times until you get it how you want it. The bottom one is totally colored. That's right. All right, I'm going to set that aside to dry. This one is pretty saturated, but I do want to try doing some water drops on it while it's still wet, because maybe that's what I'm always doing. Oh, because also I want to see how it does the modeling on this paper. See how the modeling does, like the, you know, when you sprinkle the water to get the ink to react. Works on some paper better than other paper. Apparently on this paper it works pretty decently. Do I want this one? Oh no, I'm still... Oh, I'm gonna do a little forest moss on here, I think. Just spray. Oh, hold on. I needed to move my camera way up so that I could be way above this, so I could just kind of sprinkle it from way up here and have it do that. So we got a little bit of forest moss on there. I might do that also with the olive, the crushed olive, because why not? It's just kind of a look that... Okay, like I said, this one, I can tell the ones I use a lot, I have to spray it. Getting a lot more of this than I wanted. Because there's not a lot in there, so I have to hold it like this to spray it. But, you know, when the leaves are changing, you might have some greens and browns in there. I think that's really cool. Alright, let's see, what else? I'm going to set that aside to dry. Do I want more water? I really like what's happening with the water. Alright, that's not doing what I want. Let's grab... That's a lot more drips than I probably want, but that's okay. And there might be a little bit of turquoise in there, but I really want that. I want it to dry different in both places. So I'm setting that one aside to dry. Trying to dry it straight. I should have put something behind me, but did I? No, I did not. So now we have this random thing happening over there. More paper. Like I said, this is 90-pound paper, sulphite. It feels nice actually. So far, I'm liking what it does with spray. So I'm gonna spray some water first, and then spray some sprays. Spray some sprays, and a little... Oh, let's go ahead and get the rest of whatever's in the tube out of this so that it can stop being quite so... There we go. It's starting to change now, as you can see. A little bit of the weird mix we got going on there. Just trying to think of what I want to do. You know, maybe this time we will just lightly tap it so it gets smushed in some areas and not smushed in other areas, like that, so that it it's smushed and smooth in some areas and still has the spray showing in the other areas. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to heat gun dry this real quick. Alright, so far I'm liking this paper, just saying. Let's go ahead and drop some water onto it that it's dry. I usually have trouble getting it to react on paper. The spray stains. The dry inks are a little bit different. So try that on there to see what happens. Looking for a paper towel. And then I'll just go ahead. Oh yeah. Alright, this is starting to be like my favorite paper, because I don't get this on mixed media paper. And it's hit or miss sometimes on even watercolor paper. Plus watercolor paper has the texture on it, so this is really smooth. It doesn't have texture like watercolor paper. It has a nice matte feel to it, and it works really great with inks. I learned about this paper from Tracy Wozniak. I will link her below. She did the first class in the Fodder Challenge 2024. She used it to glue down her mushrooms that then she watercolored the stems and whatnot. And she just said it takes mediums really well, and so far with these inks it really does. I'm really loving. I can't remember if she used, I thought she said she used copy paper for like the part where she did the sprays and stuff, and the, what did she use, the brushes and what, I don't know, whatever. She used different mediums to make her mushroom tops. But yeah, this I'm loving this. I'm loving this paper. It's not so, it feels thinner than mixed media 90 pound, but it still takes a lot. And this is from what was here. It really, nothing's really gone through it. So if you want to do like two-sided things for your journals and you want them to not go, I think this would be really, oh, I might have to make just a journal using this paper, like an art journal. Might be fun. All right, this is dry almost. So let's do that again with the mottled, with my dirty water. It has a little bit of aqua in it from when I was painting earlier. That's all. And just let that sit for a few seconds. The sooner you clean up the water, the lighter your things will, your little splotches, your little water droplets. That's the word, right? And I could come in and add more water droplets that I then leave for less time or whatever. Or I can even, let's see. This should wick up some of the, I could use a brush with this too. I don't have to use the end. Oh, and I try to turn my, when I'm doing splatters, I do try to turn my paper so that the splatters aren't all going in the same direction. And right now I'm not worried about if I get big or little splatters. I just want different splatters. And this is the dilutions, so it will probably wick up some of the color as well. And it's on fairly dry, so it's not spreading. These are going to take forever to dry is part of the problem though. So I'm just kind of taking my paper towel and soaking up some of that. Just because it's so thick, it's just going to take a long time to dry, and I don't know, I might want to get back to this. We can just then do a little, use the napkin. Just, if I were to just go ahead and put the paper towel on it, just straight on it, like that, it would pull up the thing, but still leave a little bit of the white, especially since I let it sit for a few seconds. And also give me more pattern, because whatever is picking up on here is then getting dropped back down again. So there's that so far. Let's see, how's this one doing? This is the one that we left wet and added more stuff. It's got some really cool things happening. Got a little bit wet there, which is fine. Just giving me a little bit of mottled, M-O-T-T-L-E-D, just mottled effect from the inks and sprays. Well, I'm using sprays. All right, and that's where it got wet, so it spread a little bit. Let's see. I want to add one of these. Which one? Oh, I've got these two drying over here too. That one. Just kind of pull up some of that water so that it's less. And this one, just taking a while to finish drying because it's thick in some areas. So far, I can tell you, I like this paper. How are we on time? All right, that wasn't too bad. Let me play with some paint on it now. I do want to take one of these, maybe this one, because it's fairly plain and it's mostly dry. What color paint? I don't know. All right, let's move the inks out of the way. Do a little bit of Van Dyke Brown. And you know, to help my drop paper, what I will probably also do is when I put paint down to use, I'll just put it in different places. So I'm just using a palette knife to I don't want to get a crease in there. I just kind of want to spread that paint around to where there is no paint. So I'm just kind of pressing it, but I'm not folding it to get a crease. I don't want a crease. I just want this thing to, all right. Oops, I'm gonna let that dry for a minute and bring out one of these. Which one? Maybe this one. That one would be easy to repeat. It's just spraying the sprays, right? So let's go ahead and add some gesso. Let's add some gesso. Why gesso? Because gesso will wick up the color that's underneath, so I won't lose the color, but I'll get some texture. So this is Liquitex gesso. I'm trying to use it up so I can buy some new stuff because my old stuff is kind of, it's got some gloppy bits. Let's put it that way. Alright, clean that off a little bit because I want to use it with letter. And I'm just going to use you can find this in the kitchen section or whatever, or you can use a card. It doesn't have to be a scraper, a cake scraper or whatever, or you know, it can be credit card, palette knife, anything. Just that was kind of what was there. And as you can see, it did pick up the color, and now it's spreading the color because it got all mixed in with there, which is fine because it's going to go with what's in the background because it picked up color from the background. All right, that needs to dry now too. Let's see, this one is actually already almost dry. Let's add some gesso to this as well. I'll use something different this time though. I'm like, I just had my gesso. How far could it have gone? Nobody's at your door. That was me hitting the paint. Whoops. What about this little silicone brush thing? Should we just play with that? Just use your stuff, whatever you got. If you've got a silicone brush, use that. If you've got a little makeup brush, you could dab some paint on with that. You know, you're just getting paint on there. And the more random I do it, I'm getting paint on my shirt. It's okay. I have two shirts that I got in the same color, so I could wear one out in public and wear one to art, and because I like the color. It's army green. It's like a olive green, dark olive green. I just like dark olive green, and Target sells them at a low price, so that I can do that. I just basically waited for one to get a food stain on it, and that one became my painting one. All right, so got another layer on that. It's all about layers. I just really like layers. All right, that is still pretty wet. And so I'm just going to use a little bit of cream, which I'm hoping will stay a little bit cream. So if I had used my gel plate, I would have been, as a palette, that would have helped a little bit. But I think I got a good amount on my brayer. It's all dendriticky, but that's right. I'm just going to kind of go through, press down, lift up a little bit. Just, I forget. Some people call this what? I don't remember. Just kind of lightly go across here just to smush out some of those. And I'm going to do this. Just to smush out some of those lines, because I don't necessarily want the lines. I just wanted the color, which it looks like some of the cream color is staying. And so yeah, so it doesn't wick up through acrylic paint the same as it does through let's try it on this one, at least on half of it. Now I'm pressing harder because I have a lot less paint on my brayer. So this is just going to push it into the background a little bit, and here where it's a little bit thicker, I'll be able to see if it wicks up the color, but I don't think it will because acrylic paint and gesso are different. People ask me what's the difference, and one of them is that the gesso, the inks will wick up through the gesso, but not so much the acrylic paint, because like I've said it before and I'll say it again, acrylic paint is essentially a plastic. Words are hard. All right, let's get some more paint on here. Let's see, earlier I did this combination which came out kind of cool, so I am just gonna take my paint scraper. Yeah, maybe we'll just do this time. Just get some color on here. Oh my goodness, and get it stuck to my background papers, guys, so that's fun. I'm kind of going for fall colors because that's what I feel like doing today, or foresty colors, and not all just fall. So that's getting on the back of there too, because it's pulling up. I'm loving this texture that's happening here from when I had this paper went down on there and then pulled up some of the paint off of that paper, and I love that. I don't know if we can try to do it on purpose. All right, next I want to use some transparent, no, that's not what I did last time. I think I did some cream. This is unbleached titanium, I think. Yep, it is unbleached titanium. Just gonna mix with the red a little bit because, you know, I don't have everything cleaned off over here. And it's drying fairly quickly because it's fairly thin, so I can just go ahead and take my transparent red oxide and get that on my brayer and do another layer. And then that will get some of the really white areas covered a little bit too, to some degree. Just spread that out. And yeah, I am this is probably going to end up loving both sides of this, right? This is more about what's happening to this background paper here. And it kind of makes me want to bring in some green gold, just because of the thing that's showing through there, that olive green, or I could even just spray it with olive green. Alright, so some green gold is not quite the color I want, so I'm going to mix it with a little bit of the green hue just to darken it up a little bit, maybe, see what happens. And a little darker probably, but that's alright. Just want to do this. Alright, so because there's wet paint on wet paint, there's other paints that are coming up, and see, I need to put another back. So this background piece is looking pretty cool. So I'm going to set that to the side and get myself a new piece to put under here that can also hopefully become really cool. Let's go ahead and do some yellow ochre. And then I'll probably follow that up with a little bit more of the unbleached titanium again. So just using a brayer on paper, sometimes it depends on the paper. Like if you have a paper with a weave, this works really great. It gets your color in different places, in different areas differently. I still have a big white spot in the middle. I don't know how I feel about that, but remember I said I really like the crushed olive in there. I'm just gonna spray some of that on there and wipe it around just to fill in some of that. My yellow paint was still wet, so I'm not sure. Should have probably waited for that to... Okay, I like that combo there. I mean, this looks like just like one big leaf starting to change, or halfway through it's changing colors. I think I can definitely make some fun leaves with that. Do I want to add anything else, like gesso, or... Ooh, if I add gesso, it's gonna wick up some of that green, isn't it? That'll be cool. How do I want to do the gesso? I think I'll do the brayer again. This is kind of my brayer paper. And I'll do another one with some paint, doing some other stuff. This one we started with just plain paper, right? Just getting stuck on there. Alright, I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to press down because I want some of that gesso to come off and not be quite so strong. Alright, so that's how it looks now, and I want to add a little bit more red back in. A lot of times it's a good idea to add the color you started with on another layer. I don't even have to cover it totally. I could just do kind of like little blocks of it here and there, because I don't want to lose all the things. Alright, we did that. Let's come back to this one again. So when I'm using brayering for this particular technique, where I'm doing layer after layer after layer, a lot of times I will start repeating colors. So what do we mostly have warm colors with some yellow green basically in here, right? And using the brayer gives us this unique texture, and then of course just pressing the other paper on top pulls up some of the paint that we just put on. Alright, there we go. I think that's really cool. Okay, let that dry. Now it's really wet, but that's okay. Pull out another one, and well, let's do the thing we often do. I mean, because if I do it a lot, I might as well see how that does on the paper, right? All right, palette knife or scraper. Just grab what's easy. I'm gonna get a little bit of color in there. That's okay. This is gesso as the first layer. Often I will do gesso as my first layer. Just do. If I do it thin enough, then it'll dry pretty quickly, and I can come in with, again, we'll do the same colors, because it's both, you know, apples with apples, and you can see different techniques using the same colors, right? Now if I don't want the colors to mix, then I want to wait for them to dry in between. Also, I might not be overly concerned about it either. We'll see. Oops, that was a lot. So this is going to cover a lot of the paper, but I still want the red to show through. So I'm going to try to get the places where I didn't get a lot of red. That's the red iron oxide. And then going to do some yellow ochre. I like yellow ochre. It's one of my favorites for fall, especially. All right, I will take off this. It's gonna, that red on there was gonna affect my yellow ochre a little more than I want it to. I think this is from the Dollar Tree. I'm not sure. I don't know. Got it from somewhere. So I'm trying to lay it, oops, flat. It's not doing it now. If you have too much on there, it kind of messes it up. All right. let's get that off of there. Get some of that on there. And just get some yellow on there. Yellow ochre. It's not quite the same as yellow, is it? One of those muted colors I like. It's not a primary yellow, it's more of a, could even scrape it across more to get some of that background covered. You know I'm going to bring in some more of that olive though, because it works so nicely with the other bits. Alright, so let's see. Should let that dry, but I'm not gonna. Where did my olive? There it is. Just want, I gotta order more olive. This is sad. Alright, use my fingers to, I just want some of the olive in the background. I could have started out with olive. That would have been good too. I do also have the dry olive ink, which could potentially work. So I don't really want it necessarily on the paint, but I definitely want it in the background. Let's add a little bit of water to here too. Water to here. We'll add a little bit of water so I have a little bit. Oops, so I can use it a little bit longer. Well, that's what happens when you spill. Well, what does happen when you spill water on your paint? We're about to find out. Depends how you lift it up. There you go, look at that. There's another technique. You can lift some of the not quite dry water back up with some paint. I wouldn't add water if these were mostly full. I'm only adding water because it's mostly empty for me. What was this one? This was my drop paper, so a little more green on that might be nice. Alright, now that definitely needs to dry before I add my next layer, which I think, what did I do in that other one? I think I did the unbleached titanium. Let me dry this real quick. Okay, I'm going to add some unbleached titanium. I don't know if I'll add any more layers of what I've already got or not. I'm just going to grab one of my palette knives. Some of that off by just doing this. Okay. So I scraped it on there and then rubbed it against another paper so quite a bit would come off. And then I'm going to take my mustard, my mustard, no, not my mustard, my honey, wild honey, and kind of spray that on there and some of the cream spots, the unbleached titanium. And that just, you still have some of the cream showing through and the rest is more yellowy, and that's what I had done on the other page, and I think that's why I ended up liking it so much. I would probably add some little black splatters and white splatters to this. I could do that to all those, but I might wait until they're in a project. So here are the pages we made today, just using paints and inks and using this new sulphite paper. Here is a drop paper, which, oh my goodness, that is going to be fun to use. And another drop paper. And another drop paper. 90 pound, pretty sturdy. Let's see. Rips kind of straight that way. Sometimes there's not a grain going both ways. Seems to be a grain going both ways. So that is interesting. It's still damp, so that's why I'm getting that much of a tear on there. Alright, so there's that. And that's using the Brayer. Nice fall colors. We've got sprays, gesso, and the unbleached titanium paint on that one. Sprays, and let's see. Yep, the unbleached titanium did not wick the color through. So if you like the wicking, you want to use gesso. If you don't, then use acrylic paint. Oh, this needs more. It needs more. What does it need? I don't know. Let's try it. Not could do black. Let's try this turquoise Soho. I'm gonna try it over here because there's not a lot going on over there. And just gonna use a palette knife again. This is one of my favorite ways to do my painty papers. Besides the gel plate, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my gel plate, but also just scraping paint onto paper gives some really, I'm not even paying any attention to where, I mean, you might be able to figure that out. She's like, she's not even paying any attention to where she's putting that paint. It's not going to look good. Oh, wait, how does that look so good? Because it's just layers and layers and layers. It's not even any shapes yet. It's just layers of paint to give visual interest. Let's see. That needs to dry. Ooh, I haven't brought out the Azo Gold yet, have I? Or any metallics. Here we go, little quinacridone nickel Azo Gold. Just gonna go ahead and drip that in a couple or a bunch of places. It's a little bit different than the red oxide. I like turquoise with the nickel Azo Gold, a dark burgundy, all the things. This turquoise goes with everything. How is it? It's because it's got blue and green in it, so it goes with the oranges and the yellows and the reds. Doesn't have any purple in it, yo, so why does it still go with yellow? I don't know, but I love it with everything. Alright, that needs to dry for a minute. This is Permanent Violet Dark. I just want to see how it does. Splatters would actually probably work best for that. But just kind of, speaking of purple, add a little bit of that in there for a surprise. Like, why not? Alright, I'm going to turn that over to get some of that off. Because I don't want it like super obvious. I just kind of want hints of it here and there, basically. Actually, find a fairly clean piece of this and just. So yeah, I can add more layers to these as much as I want. I really like when I can pull some off, some of the paint like that's not quite dry. Just pull it back off by just pressing paper on there. Seems, well, this is a lot of acrylic paint under there. That's why it didn't work quite as well for there. And there, I mean, you can still see a little bit of the color I started with, and some of the brown in the background just looks darker, and the turquoise and the orange and the little bit of purple. I don't know. I like it. I don't know. You guys might not. Maybe you're like, what did she do? Oh, I'm about to blow your mind. No, I'm not. I'm about to do something that some of you are going to be like, why? Because that's what I do. I do things that make you question why you watch me. And I don't know if it will work or not. But this is Titan Green Pale. And I just want to add some of it with a palette knife. Not perfectly. Just here and there and wherever. The more like that I can get it, the happier I am. I can't always do that, which is why I then go back through and press it on the other paper just to don't leave it too long or it'll get stuck. Just long enough to pull some of that back off. Alright, yep, I like that too. What if I, oh, where's the honey? The wild honey. I'm just going to spray a little bit of that here and there. Turn it over. Press it against there. Just a lot of fall colors, basically. So little splotches of yellow are now there. It's all good. And it has an awesome background. That'll make fun leaves, mushrooms, pumpkins, whatever. All right, so that's it. I think that's it, right? That is the last one that I'm playing with. I don't know. So, just everything. Not even everything. I haven't tried inks on these yet, but I probably will. There's that one. That one. These are 9 by 12, which is a nice size. These are the under papers that just caught all the junk on the bottom. There is the one I did with the palette knife. There's one with sprays. I will be playing with these upstairs. I'm going to take these upstairs to my living space and just make things with them. Doodle, cut, and whatnot. And then this is the one that inspired me to do some of the things that I do. And then that was a gel plate print I did on the back of a printable, which I ended up not using the printable. And I have a journal with a lot of reds and oranges and yellows and some dark purples too, so I think that this is going to work nicely in that journal. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope you have a delightful day. Love you.